Ahead on WFT Midday, tragedy on the Hudson River. The NTSB now investigating a deadly helicopter crash that killed a family on vacation.
Plus, backlash for a Florida teacher off the job. Why supporters say she should not have been let go just for making a trans student feel comfortable.
And more recognition for the Gators men's basketball team after their national championship win. What they are set to receive from the city during UF's annual Orange and Blue game. WUFT Midday starts now.
You're watching WUFT Midday.
The NTSB is now investigating a deadly helicopter crash in New York City that killed family on vacation and the chopper's pilot. This is WUFT Midday. I am Orianna Torre.
And I'm Sofia Mendez. The sightseeing helicopter appeared to break apart in mid-air before crashing into the Hudson River. WFT's Marleigh is live in the studio with the emotional reaction from a witness.
One witness saw it as he was walking. The crash happened shortly after 3 p.m. Thursday. A family of 5 and the pilot were all killed. Siemens executive Agustin Escobar, his wife, and their 3 children and the pilot were on board the chopper that was flying from Spain. The children were 4, 5, and 11 years old. Emergency responders were gathering on both sides of the river. Divers pulled 4 people from the crash site. Divers recovered 2 others. Witnesses described what they saw as the chopper crashed.
All of a sudden you look up to the sky and it's just slowly falling apart. And then you see the tail go and you just see a flip, propeller still in the sky, just slams into the ground.
The FAA and NTSB are investigating the crash. The Coast Guard established a safety zone in the Hudson River, stopping vessel traffic a mile north and south of the river, which is impacting ferry service. The cause of the crash is under investigation. A source confirmed the helicopter was owned by a company called Meridian Helicopters out of Louisiana. Live in the studio, Marleigh Brown, WUFT News.
The nation's highest court ruled the Trump administration must facilitate the return of a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. On March 15th, Gilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, a Maryland father, was sent to an El Salvador prison along with hundreds of alleged Venezuelan gang members. But in 2019, an immigration judge granted Abrego Garcia protected status, which means the government could not deport him. The Trump administration claims he is part of the MS-13 gang, which his attorneys deny. On Thursday, the High Court said a U.S. District Court order requiring Abrego Garcia's return was unclear and needed further review. The justices also did not provide a deadline for Abrego Garcia's return to the U.S.
Infamous convicted killers Eric and Lyle Mendez are due in court for a hearing this afternoon to determine whether they could eventually be set free. They both are serving life sentences for the 1989 murders of their parents. A California judge will hear arguments and rule on whether they may proceed with a resentencing hearing, which will make them eligible for parole. The new Los Angeles County District Attorney wants to withdraw a resentencing petition by his predecessors. The brothers admitted to killing their parents, but claim it was in self-defense after years of sexual and physical abuse.
The UF weather team is tracking another round of showers and storms. UF forecaster Nicole Borman is live in the weather studio, timing out if the showers will return to north central Florida.
That's right, guys. We are expecting some storms later on into today, but right now the temperature's looking really nice outside. Look, there's not a cloud in the sky over Century Tower or over the stadium. Those temperatures are getting warmer by the minute. We're seeing north central Florida into those lower 70s, 71 in Gainesville, 75 in Ocala, 72 in Bronzes. Looking really nice. And later on into today, those temperatures are going to only be getting even warmer. We're going to be seeing those temperatures in those lower 80s all over north central Florida, giving us a nice afternoon that we're looking for. But later on into today, I'm going to be tracking out this storm right here that's going to be pulled in over here over north central Florida, giving us a bit of showers tonight. But for right now, I'd be enjoying the nice weather. Later on, we're going to be seeing those showers later on into the night. And later on into the show, I'm going to be telling you more about that storm, the warm weekend we have ahead of us, and the 80s going into next week.
A Florida teacher has lost her job after addressing a trans student by their preferred name instead of their legal name. And students at the Broward County High School are sharing their frustrations with administrators. And Megan Moriarty reports the teacher did not have the parents' approval to use the preferred name.
Dozens of students exited Satellite High School on Thursday, gathering near the edge of the parking lot to voice concerns over the district's decision to not renew a teacher's contract for next school year.
We're here to really show support for Ms. Calhoun and to show that we are not okay with what is going on and that we truly are upset that we are losing such a positive teacher.
Brianna McKnight is a sophomore at Satellite High School. Her mother gave permission for her to speak about the issue.
She just has done so much within the community, so that it's just really upsetting to know that we are losing that.
The school district says in a statement a parent reached out to report a teacher was referring to their child by a name other than their legal name without their written permission. The district says that violates state law. The law it's referring to is the Florida's Parental Rights and Education Bill, referred to by critics as the Don't Say Gay bill.
To me, it really stems back to a First Amendment right of both the student and the teacher. Sure, the parents have their rights to do as they wish in their home and with their child, but the student in the classroom, I believe, and the teacher should also be protected by our Constitution.
From the high school to the corner here at A1A and Jackson Avenue, you can see that parents and students continue to voice their concerns even after dismissal, saying that the removal of this teacher for the following school year isn't right. The district continued in their statement saying since the state will be reviewing her teaching certificate based on these actions, the district decided not to renew the annual contract until the issue is resolved with the state.
The teacher and the teachers union declined to comment. Supporters of the teacher have set up a change.org petition.
New at noon in Alachua County, family is safe, but their home is badly damaged after a fire broke out Thursday evening. Fire rescue officials say the flames sparked up in the kitchen and moved into the attic. When crews arrived, there was heavy smoke coming from the home. Everyone inside managed to get out safely. Firefighters have determined the fire was unintentional. Staying in Alachua County, Bread of the Mighty is planning a food giveaway event for Hawthorne families this weekend. The nonprofit has plans to feed some 200 households at Lakeside Baptist Church Saturday. The goods include fresh produce and non-perishable items. You can find the church on 65th Avenue in Hawthorne. The event begins at 10 a.m.
The celebrations for the men's basketball national champions is continuing into the weekend. The team will receive more accolades from the University of Florida and the city of Gainesville. During tomorrow's Orange and Blue game, the team is set to receive a key to the city from Major Harvey Ward. City leaders say the ceremony will take place during an extended halftime of the football team's annual spring game. The game begins at 1 and the halftime ceremony will begin at around 2 p.m. The team is being recognized at a historic 2025 national championship. The team was welcomed back to Gainesville Tuesday during a large rally on UF's campus. They came back one day after their comeback 65-63 victory over the Houston Cougars. The Gators overcame a double-digit deficit to win their first national championship since 2007. It's the third title for the program.
In other UF news, students are fighting against sexual violence. In honor of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, Flipping the System held their third annual Shine Light on Sexual Assault event. The nonprofit organization focuses on the nightlife and safety and prevention. Students and locals had access to education, calming activities, and even Narcan. The event emphasized supporting victims and spreading awareness of how the community should have handled the violence so many people face. UF students and co-founder Emma Afchin believes this support is essential to ending sexual violence.
As a society, like as humans, support is all we have. So we have to, if we're not there for each other, what do we have going for us?
The system hopes to spread their mission across other college campuses nationwide.
A Gainesville museum is hosting its signature event to highlight an important type of plant. The Florida Museum of Natural History is hosting a one-day plant sale this afternoon despite being closed for expansion. The sale will include over 100 pollinator-friendly plants to help with biodiversity efforts. Interim Director Jared Daniels says pollinators' plants are crucial for the ecosystem.
Right now, biodiversity is under, really kind of onslaught from human-caused effects, and pollinators are critical to a state like Florida that has so many different agricultural commodities.
Daniel says you can help by planting in your garden, reducing fertilizer use, and reducing turf grass use. The sale opened at 10 this morning and closes at 5 p.m.
USA Today confirmed what we in North Central Florida already know, that Cedar Key is one of the best places to be. The newspaper named Cedar Key the second best coastal small town in the U.S., following Pismo Beach, California. The ranking comes after a tough year. The city was hit by Hurricanes Debbie, Idalia, and Helene, all within 13 months. Former Mayor Sue Colson says the ranking is a testament to the strength of her community.
It's a recognition of the fact that we are tough as nails. We're a strong community, and we never lay down and just give up. And it seems to just make us stronger and better each time.
Colson added that the town will always be number one in the community's heart. It's been a cooler week this week.
That's right, guys. And Cedar Key is a beautiful town. I was one of the people who went to Cedar Key after Hurricane Helene last year. And if you're interested on what those storms are going to be looking like next year, here's a list of all the names for the 2025 storms going into our hurricane season. We're only less than 50 days away from our next hurricane season, which is a lot sooner than a lot of us were really expecting. But for right now, the temperature outside is looking great. Not a storm in sight for now, and not a cloud in the sky over Century Tower and over the stadium. Temperatures relatively in those mid-70s and those lower 70s right now in Gainesville. We already upped it to those 75s, mostly all over the more central Florida part of the state. And later on into the day, those temperatures are going to be taking a dip with the chance of those rains going in. So we're seeing that peak around 3 or 4 p.m. and then continue to go down into those 60s for tonight with those storms ahead of us. Now, right here is where we're seeing that marginal risk for that severe storm we could be seeing tonight with 60-mile-per-hour winds and those quarter-size hails. But that is towards the end of the scale of our severe risk, so it's really not as bad as it sounds out loud. But this pressure system right here is what's pushing that towards us. Now we're going to track out that storm later on into today. So for Friday afternoon, we're seeing as those clouds continue to push over us with those storms starting to develop. Going into the night is right when it lands over Gainesville, giving us those thunderstorms, and then it continues to clear out going into the night into tomorrow morning to give us a nice Saturday afternoon. And who wouldn't want that after our big win last week? Now we're seeing as this new pressure system continues to push over us here in Gainesville, giving us this clarity right now into the beginning of our week, but then bringing in those cooler temperatures and those clouds going into next week. But throughout the weekend, we're going to be seeing even better temperatures. With that rain coming in tomorrow, though, tonight, we're going to be seeing those pollen levels stay consistently since it isn't heavy enough to push it down to that medium level. So if you've been sneezing outside, I know I have, might not be sticking around for just a little bit longer, but for the weekend we're seeing those nice warm temperatures going in, very similar to what we're feeling right now. And for our 7-day forecast, seeing as the temperatures go back up into those 80s with those lows relatively in those 50s, clear skies throughout the week to give us that nice week we've been looking for.
Now let's head over to our Noticias partners for a look at today's top stories for our Spanish language audience.
Hola, soy Gabriela Valdes con tus noticias en 90 segundos. 6 muertos después de un accidente del helicóptero sobre el río Hudson. El helicóptero llevaba una familia de 5 personas de España junto al piloto del alquiler de helicópteros en Nueva York. Los turistas fallecidos eran ejecutivos de la compañía Siemens y vivían en Barcelona junto a sus 3 hijos. La Administración Federal de Aviación está investigando por qué el helicóptero se estrelló en el agua. Una ciudadana ruso-estadounidense fue liberada en un intercambio de prisioneros entre Moscú y Washington. Ksenia Karelina fue acusada por el Servicio de Seguridad ruso de recaudar dinero para una organización ucraniana que suministra armas al ejército. Karelina donó $51 el primer día de la invasión rusa a Ucrania, el 22 de febrero de 2022. Ella se declaró culpable el pasado agosto y fue condenada a 12 años de cárcel. A cambio, Estados Unidos liberó a Arthur Petrov, quien fue acusado de exportar microelectrónica ilegalmente para fabricantes que trabajan con el ejército ruso. Entre los 221 fallecidos en la tragedia del derrumbe del tejado en la República Dominicana se encontraban el famoso cantante Ruby Pérez y el conocido jugador de béisbol Tony Blanco. Ayer se llevó a cabo el funeral de Ruby Pérez, quien fue escoltado al cementerio Puerto del Cielo después de su servicio en el Teatro Nacional.
Entre los numerosos asistentes se encontraba el presidente de República Dominicana, Luis Abinader, Fefita la Grande y el gran cantautor Juan Luis Guerra. El beisbolista Tony Blanco también tuvo su sepelio en el polideportivo entre sus amigos y familiares. Esas fueron tus noticias en 90 segundos. Gracias por sintonizarnos.
It's a leading cause of death for children in the U.S. The CDC says every year there are around 4,000 deadly unintentional drownings, but health experts say these tragedies can be prevented. Manny Gathered talks to a pediatric emergency medicine doctor about how to keep kids safe in the water.
It can happen in an instant. Experts say drownings are often quick and silent without even a single splash.
As a pediatric ER doctor, we see drownings come in very frequently during the summer and when swim season starts.
That's why Dr. Sarah Lazarus with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says it's so important to make water safety a priority. Whether children or teens are swimming in a pool or at a beach, drowning is preventable.
Every time I hear it happens so quickly. A parent may just turn their back, and when they turn around, their child is underwater.
Lazarus says if your child can't swim 2 lengths of the pool without assistance, parents should be within arm's reach of the child at all times. Once the child is a competent swimmer and can go to pool lengths without stopping, parents can graduate to eyes reach supervision, always keeping an eye on the child in the water. She says it's also important to avoid distractions and to make sure there's a 4-sided self-latching fence around any pool you visit. A Coast Guard approved life jacket should also be worn, especially in open water. And if a parent can't swim, Lazarus says it's never too late to learn.
Remember, because you are your child's best lifeguard, it's so important that you also have those swim skills.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Lazarius says it's also important to know how to do CPR in case there's an emergency. She says at the start of the swim season, it's also a good idea to recheck your child's competence in the water to make sure their skills haven't changed since last year.
The Food and Drug Administration says it will phase out a requirement that certain drugs and antibiotics be tested on animals. In a statement, the FDA says it's taking this step because there are testing methods that are more effective and human relevant. The agency says one possible replacement for animal testing includes AI-based computer simulations. A drug can get FDA approval only after researchers show it is safe and effective. Until now, that proof has had to be shown through lab testing, often in animals, before therapies are tested in humans. The FDA commissioner says this new move will get new treatments into the hands of patients more quickly while lowering drug prices.
It could soon cost more to send mail. The U.S. Postal Service is trying to raise prices. The proposed rates include a 5-cent increase for first-class forever stamps from 73 cents to 78 cents. The price to send domestic postcards would jump from 56 cents to 62 cents. Also, the cost to send metered letters and international letters and postcards would increase by 5 cents. If approved, the new prices will take effect July 13th. Now let's take a look at what's coming up on First at 5 on Channel 5. That First at 5 team is breaking down how the city of Gainesville is funding the annual Hogetown Medieval Fair after the popular event's future was up in the air. And a reminder for parents as the temperatures warm up to make sure little ones are not left inside cars. It could result in deadly consequences. And the mayor is preparing to present the Gator men's basketball team with a special award from the city. All that and more on WFT's First at 5. Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Well, right now, guys, it's looking great outside. We're seeing warm sun out there. Those temperatures are going to be dropping a little bit going into the weekend, but pick up right back into the middle of the week, giving us those 80s. Going out staggeringly throughout the rest of the week. No rain right now to see projected for our following week, so it's going to be really nice outside.
Thanks for joining us for WFT Midday. We're back here tomorrow for another edition.
We will see you later today for the First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a great afternoon.